The Tourism Business Council is desperate to see an uptick in travel, as many businesses in the hospitality industry either downscale their offering or close shop altogether. The tourism report by Stats SA on travel in 2020 found that foreign arrivals dropped by 71% from just over 15 million to 8 million in 2019. That was to less than 5 million in 2020. Global lockdowns and restrictions on movement across borders were partly to blame for that. Let's get a sense of where things stand now and speak to CEO of the Tourism Business Council of South Africa, Tshifhiwa Tshivhengwa. Tshifhiwa, afternoon to you. So you and I have had this conversation multiple times since that first lockdown in March of 2020. How much of an impact has the travel restriction lockdown aspect in Gauteng in particular had on you? Because I understand 60% about of travellers come from Gauteng.
Absolutely. 60% of all domestic travellers originate from Gauteng, so which makes this province of Gauteng one of the major provinces in terms of domestic and international travel in terms of transit. So as things stand now, you can see that the airlines have, grounded their flights. If you look at Kome and Kulula, their flights are grounded. Other airlines that are still flying, they are really flying at a very, very low margins. And if you look at hotels, many of them have closed because there is no business to even break even or to justify the running of a hotel. So we are in a situation where it's a devastation. We have been having some restriction of some sort for the past 16 months, and this restriction now has really hit the industry heavily, and many of our employees are suffering sitting at home. So again, we've had this conversation many times, the whole issue of not allowing interprovincial travel from Gauteng, and the whole issue of closing liquor has dealt a blow on our industry. So we are desperate. And we do need to go back to some level of operation, and our recovery is going to be long. Even if we open tonight, it's not a switch. We're not going to see people, traveling immediately, but we need to have certainty.
And just on travel immediately, I want to go back to that statistic that I was referencing in the beginning of our conversation, that tourism report by Stats SA on travel numbers in 2020. It in fact found that foreign arrivals had dropped by 71% from just over 15.8 million in 2019 to less than 5 million in 2020. Are you hopeful with the rate at which our vaccination drive is moving that other countries will begin to ease restrictions on their citizens who want to come here?
Well, the rate of vaccination is going to help us. The more people get vaccinated, the better for us in terms of other countries overseas allowing their citizens to come to South Africa. Indeed, the numbers that we've seen in terms of the drop on international arrivals, it's worrying, and everyone has experienced the same globally. But for us to go back to the trajectory of success, vaccination is key. Number two, we need to convince other countries that, they need to allow their citizens to come into the country. So we need to advocate, we need to make sure that the brand image abroad, it is looked at better, because people don't like to travel to destinations that have riots and many other things. So we need to clean our image from what has happened in the past weeks. And therefore, people will start to look into us and say, well, I would want to go to South Africa. If you look at the numbers now, even the numbers that you mentioned, let's remember that majority of those people that have been traveling into the country in 2020 are coming from our neighboring countries. They don't necessarily touch the entire value chain of tourism. They may touch one or two, but most of them are, economic migrants. They're coming here to work. They come here for 3 months. They go back home. But in terms of pure tourists who are coming to enjoy what this country has to offer, the numbers are very, very minimal. If you talk to the lodges, the resorts, and the car rental companies, and the entire value chain of tourism, you will see that there has been devastation. If you look at events as an example, we haven't even opened. We don't even know when we're going to be opening. We've been advocating for months and months to say we need to allow some level of controlled events, to start happening. So it's devastation across the board. We are looking at international markets. If we vaccinate rapidly, perhaps in the next northern hemisphere summer, we can start to see some people trickling in. In the next northern hemisphere winter, then they will be coming to South Africa for the summer. So we need to move fast. We need to vaccinate as many people as possible. We perhaps need to open for the other age groups to start to come in so that, we are seen as a country that's vaccinating rapidly. So we are reliant on that, and we need to make sure that, that process of vaccination happens. But brand image is key, and we have, our brand is tarnished. The news that's going overseas is not good news, and we need to work harder to make sure that our brand is looked at favorably.
You mentioned events. In the last week alone, we had news that the Dome, a major concert venue in this country, was closing its doors. It's now been sold. It's in fact going to be a car lot where We Buy Cars will be selling cars and the rest of it. You mentioned hotels that are closing down, and I'm wondering where you are seeing the worst effects of the lockdown in the industry. Is it accommodation and events?
Well, in the events, it's been the worst because the events have not been allowed to operate. The numbers that have been announced in the past with a 50% capacity of 50 people, it doesn't work for that industry. And we've seen many valuable events. Some of them are global events that are thinking twice in terms of whether they should even be coming to South Africa. And if you look at these events and how they impact the value chain, the accommodation benefits from this, the post-events tours, that happen. Many entrepreneurs participate in this. And also it helps us, to be ranked higher in terms of a destination that can host these types of events. So it is quite important that, we return to some level of trading when it comes to events and exhibition. However, again, the vaccination is key. And if we don't do that fast enough, then we're going to see devastation from that part. But the entire industry at large, if you look at the inbound in terms of those that are reliant on people that are coming from overseas, they haven't been working because we open, we close, we open, we close. It doesn't work. We need certainty. We cannot have a situation whereby we open now and then 3 months down the line we say, well, no one should be coming in or no one can go through our thing. That doesn't work for our industry. We need certainty because we sell forward. Our forward book has to do with many different aspects. So it's important that whatever we do, we bring certainty and people can be able to say, I'm going to South Africa and I will be able to travel and I will be able to do what I want to do. It also involves alcohol. I'll give you an example. We sell fully inclusive tours for people to go to game lodges, to do safaris, and they can get drinks included. If you switch off alcohol, how do we fulfill that promise that we've given to those travelers that are coming in? We can't. And they can sue us. So it's very important that the decisions that are made, take into consideration the nuances of our sector to make sure that, there's recovery, of tourism in this country. Otherwise, our recovery is going to take longer and more people will be staying at home. And it's going to have a negative impact on the economy and the unemployment rate. I
was listening to Wendy Alberts from the Restaurant Association speaking earlier, and one of the things that she's been raising over the past few weeks is about the TERS temporary employment relief scheme, right, which is meant to help people who at this time aren't earning their full wages or earning anything at all. Is the tourism industry also battling to get money there for your employees?
Well, in terms of the operational side of the UIF tiers, it's been a battle. And it is something that, we want UIF to fix. We can't have a situation where people that have applied, this is supposed to be an emergency. It's not supposed to be something that can be paid after 3 months. It should be paid immediately as soon as people apply. So we've been battling in terms of getting UIF to get their operations together and be able to pay on time. Let's remember that these employees that are applying, they're sitting at home. They don't have anything on the table. So these delays and all these things that are happening are not helpful. And people are sitting at home not being able to put food on the table. So I think that, to UIF is to say, fix your operation, situation, make sure that people are getting paid faster so that they can put food on the table. So we have been battling, but we are grateful that, the extension is here. We have another month that employees can get something, but we need to do it fast. We can't wait for months and months to get a payment.
Tshifhiwa Tshivhengwa from the Tourism Business Council of South Africa. Good to speak to you. Thank you.
Thank you.